What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. Today is the start of the new hybrid fusion in Emic Trunkheart, where you'll be able to obtain him by gathering all of the fragments to get the fire gun Isbales, who is these 4 epic champions sitting below. And then once you acquire all of those fragments, you'll be ranking up these epics to the 5-star ascensions. And then finally, once you complete that, you'll be ending up with Emic Trunkheart himself, which I believe also costs silver when you click this little fuse button, which everything seems to be costing silver nowadays, but it's just the way that the cookie crumbles. We've also got a giveaway in today's video, and we'll be doing my shard pools for the Summon Rush, right? So if we just head into the Summon Rush, let's just check out the requirements that we need. So Summon Rush... and she's coming in the cost of 3,000 for the 25 fragments. Now, traditionally with these events, I believe that they sit around 2150, right? Or maybe even as low as 1750. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, 2150. So it does seem pretty high to me in terms of 3k. I'm definitely going to struggle quite a bit because straight coming off that Nuke Fusion, I'm pretty low on shards, guys. I've got 4 sacreds, 7 voids, and I don't really want to summon my ancient shards due to the fact that the champion chase next week is going to be a 2x ancients event. And I want to make sure that I'm hoarding as much as possible to potentially get a new legendary champion, right? But we do have the clan boss, so I'm going to be getting my rewards. Let's see if we can get another sacred, because we're going to need 6 or just a clash of the both kind of shards, right? So come on. Ancient shards, not too bad for next week. But I was hoping for some voids or a sacred shard. Okay. And then an epic skill tome. So not too lucky in terms of shards there. There is another shard I can get from the Doom Tower. Maybe we can beat that. Or is my monthly shard ready? It's the only thing that I like to buy in Raid, so it is there. But what's these other packs? Are they better? We got 40. It's one of those things you have to wait 14 days. Man, okay. 2 sacreds, 4 voids, and 4 ancients. 1 sacred, 3 voids, and 5 ancients. So shard-wise, this is better, but it costs more, right? 800 gems as well. I don't know, I'll have to think about it. Hopefully I don't have to spend. I'll just get through with what I've got anyway and pull it out the bag. So this should be 2k plus 120 each for the voids. Plus the other one. We'll be pretty close and maybe finish it off with some mystery shards, right? Also, after the shard pools, if I just show you here, I'm going to be breaking down the Emic Trunkheart Fusion calendar, which I posted in my community page, but I've actually not broken it down in details in the ways that I'm going to be tackling this. And then also discuss what this mystery summon rush may be. I'm kicking off on Tuesday, the 8th of August. So stay tuned for that straight after the shards if you guys are interested in more of a breakdown here. So, the champion that we've got here is Fire Gun Isbale. Is that how you say her name? Is it Isabel or Isbale? I'm pretty sure it's the other one. Yeah, Fire Gun Isbale. Now, she really stood out to me as a Bommel Queen. Stay tuned on the channel, guys, as we've actually asked Raid to release the Bommel rotation for the Doom Tower so we can actually showcase the potential of this champion. So fingers crossed they managed to do that for us live on the test server, and I'll be sure to get a video out on her as soon as we do. So the ways that I've been reading it was... well, initially, with the Tracer Slug, she attacks one enemy 2 times and has a 100% chance of placing 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 2 turns. The second hit will have an 80% chance of applying a debuff spread effect, taking 1 bomb debuff and placing it on all other enemies. Now, of course, this really screamed out Bommel to me because of the ways that the damage ramps up from the bomb debuffs on that boss. But also very similar to like Nishak Verminlord, or some similarities to War Mother as well, but she's just the wrong affinity being magic. All bomb debuffs placed by this skill on enemies whose max HP is higher than 200k will deal 50% more damage. And I think that's phenomenal for an epic champion in particular, and I believe that she is going to be the best epic champion in terms of bombs for that boss. It also coincides with the Weaken, which is going to amplify the damage of bombs, and it also grants an extra turn upon placing it on all enemies. Now, if anyone that's familiar with the Nishak one-shot strategy, where we've got ally attack champions and Arbiter to utilize her Weaken as well, this can kind of take the Arbiter out of the equation potentially, or just not having the need for accuracy on that champion, and you could just focus on the Weaken from Fire Gun. She's going to lead in with that extra turn, place 2 bombs of her own, pair that with like a Nishak Verminlord, right? And then you might not need to rely on 2 ally attack champions to keep that consistent. But I would really like to deep dive and try this out myself as well to see how well it scales. So just for a brief comparison here, I've opened up hellhades.com to showcase War Mother and the ways that her damage scales. And she actually reads as placing 2 bomb debuffs that detonate after 2 turns, very similar to Fire Gun, right? But it's 100% against bosses. Now, the ways that the multipliers are working here is, it's a 5.5 multiplier against champions, and then where it says 100% against bosses, it should be 11 in my mind because it's double damage, right? But it's actually only an 8.5 multiplier against bosses, which I would love to see changed. And it looks like it's just 100% in terms of the damage of the actual hit itself. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it's definitely not double in terms of the bomb output of the damage there. So very phenomenal champion actually, but she just needs to scale off potentially getting weak hits, right? Which is fine. You don't lose your keys on the Doom Tower anyway. Fire Gun, very cool. She's going to be at a 5 multiplier, which theoretically would be a 7.5 with the 50% extra value. So she's actually sitting just below War Mother for an epic champion, being the right affinity and placing the weaken, which makes me a big fan of her. And then Nishak Verminlord, obviously one of a kind champion where he does double damage, best of the bunch, comes through with this, leads in with the A1, and we've all seen the one-shot strategies by now. So she kind of sits in the realms of one of the best bomb champions in the game for anybody progressing in Bomb with the Dreadhorn, which hopefully we can showcase. And she also has a revive on death on this champion, and then a fire shot as well, which has another chance of placing bombs, but this one can only scale up to 20% more damage, so not as good as this A2 here, but still nice to have on there to decrease durations as well. So for anybody that's not actually going for the fusion itself, I do believe that it's very worth going for an epic champion if you can acquire her by just completing 4 events in total and then picking up an epic champion that I feel could drastically change progression for that one of the hardest Doom Tower bosses in the game. Like another strategy I was thinking was maybe with like a Geomancer and some Vogoths and just throw into the team. I don't think she's going to drastically change comps, but she's a nice complement to those teams. We'll speak about Epic Trunkheart later. Let's get straight into the shards, guys. So in terms of giveaways, we always like to do this on the channel for anyone that likes to get involved. And we've actually got another huge one next week as well, so stay tuned over the 2x Ancients. So if you want to have a chance to win 540 gems for 5 lucky winners, all you have to do is like this video, be subscribed to the YouTube channel, head over to the information tab in-game, copy this player ID, and include it in any of your comments below. I will be selecting the winners randomly sometime throughout this week, and you should have your rewards by the 10th of this month, which is around 6 days from the time I've released this video. So good luck to everybody participating. It's free to do, pick up some gems, and stay tuned for next week as well. So okay, 10x champions, what we got here? We've got Acrizia, phenomenal. I would love to pick one of her up. I don't actually want any of these champions because I've got them all anyway, so I'm hoping that if a legendary procs, we can just... You know, we never get 10x's anyways, they're a scam, so hopefully we don't actually get one. But they are really cool, right? Trunda, think about the Hydra Clash. She's going to be amazing for some of those difficulties like hard and brutal and just chunking through the damage there. And also a phenomenal nuker for the arena. We've got Mashard, who I'm a big fan in terms of clan boss and crowd control for arena and Doom Tower. And then we've got the non-resistible burns coming out from Walking Tomb Dreng that comes into fruition for like spiders or... the Ice Golem, for instance, very cool. Inquisitor Shamael obviously is going to be phenomenal for Hydra with the ways that you can utilize his passive to counter the Head of Decay or the Head of Torment for the Truth Is, and then instantly remove those, right, and deal a bunch of damage. And then all of the max HP champions and also a Geomancer, phenomenal, right? Congratulations to anybody that summons one for the first ever time. So let's just go into the voids here. Let's go. Acrizia, please. If we can get Acrizia, I'm going to be super hyped. Here we go. We got this. Oh, I seen a bit of lag there. Oh, Tree Shield Knot. Phenomenal. Now, Tree Shield Knot is probably... I would say he's up there, like maybe top 2, top 3 res in the game at least. Because he's got a revival of 2 champions with 25% turn meter. Also a shield buff on all revived allies, so a form of protection. We've got an AoE heal and an increased defense on himself. And also a decreased attack on the lower variation on its default skill. Like, a 4 faction wars, or just progression. Like, I think he's a very cool reviver champion to come to the game. We've run out of space. Be right back, guys. Alright then, so we've just made the space now. Let's go. We're going to get in a Crizia, guys. Let's keep that positive energy up. A Cold Heart, obviously, max HP Heart Seeker. Pretty sure that many of you guys know about this by now. And also, let me know, what did you summon over this 10x event if you're going for the Fusion? Or if you're going for the Fusion, or simply just the Epic Champion. Come on. I don't know where I am on Mercy, if I'm honest. I'm just hoping for like a 0.5% chance. An Epic Champion at least? An Epic Champion would be nice. Come on. All res. All res. And this Felthand's looking at me like, use me for campaign farming. No, thank you. Get out of here. An Epic Champion. I actually only want Epics here. So we got Gory. So Gory is a phenomenal champion for the finite hard, right? I've seen him come into many teams where the ways that you can utilize his freeze and all of his skills to counter the turn meter mechanics of the boss, where you need the freeze. We got Carlinia, who's got a bit too many candles on her head. I'm not sure how hot her head's getting. Strengthens, decrease attack AoEs. This debuff cannot be resisted against targets under burn, and a burn of her own. Okay. I think I'm going to pick up my monthlies. We have to see how close we are. Magna, probably the best HP best champion in the game. What am I saying there? One of the best HP based nukers in the game in terms of this A2 with the percussive pound. Comes through and absolutely obliterates targets in the arena. And another epic champion in a Jareg. For anybody that managed to pick him up, he's a phenomenal ally protector with increased defense. But you just need to tune him on a 4-to-3 ratio because it's on a 4-turn cooldown. And it coincides with this decreased attack as well. So turns out to be a whopper of a champion for the Demon Lord. So let's have a look here. So we're very close. I could potentially just do this with mystery shards. Or just anything that I get over the next few days. Well, we could get another void shard from the Griffin. So let's just go into the Griffin. So I've actually decided to kind of save all of the skill cooldowns to showcase you guys how I actually beat the Griffin. Thought would be really cool. Just kind of explain the mechanics while we're doing it anyway. I was just going to quickly cut it. But don't worry guys, I'll timeline everything so people don't get annoyed at me. So on this first turn, what the boss is going to do is he's going to increase his damage for all of the buffs that he removes from your targets. So you're more than safe to place any debuffs at this point or whatever that may be. But you just don't want to use any kind of buffs because that's where he's going to amplify its damage, right? So we're going to come through the Blessed Bash, boom, 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 chunking him down. And there we go, hardly dealt any damage to us there, right? Now we're going to be placing our burns, our bombs, whatever we want to do, it's not a problem. And then we're going to just, boom, reduce those detonators as well. And then on the second turn, he's going to be transferring all of the debuffs that you just placed on him, and then also filling his turn meter for each debuff transferred, which is where you want to implement some kind of block debuffs champion into the mix, so that doesn't happen. So right here, we can do whatever we like. He is going to lose the debuffs, but the poisons stay on. But we never received any debuffs on us. Therefore, no turn meter fills was done, and we're not in a bad situation. Then from here, you're going to have a cycle of 2-turn cooldowns where he's literally just going to do an A1, which is going to not do this. It's going to have a chance of placing a Fear, which is going to give you a chance to lose your turn, right? As you see here. And then what you want to do at this point is you see that it's starting to come around. So you want to start wearing all of these buffs on or off. As I said here, boom. We can place our debuffs, doesn't really matter. We don't really want to be reducing turn meter, which we are, unfortunately. And there we go. The damage is scaling because we never managed to remove all of the buffs from our Nishak Vermin Lord there. But if you time it all correctly, manually, it's a bit more easier. And then here, he's going to do the same thing again, transfer effect. So you want to have your block debuffs ready, but we managed to kill him quickly. But that's basically the fundamentals of it, is timing your skills for the first one not to open up with buffs. Second one, you want to place a block debuffs, and then you can follow your debuffs after that and save those skills, or simply use them before the transfer just to get a bit of raw damage. Which is why Nishak's phenomenal, because it becomes protected, therefore we can't transfer them. So let's go back into this Void Shard. Come on, this is where that Crizia is. No, another rare champion. Steadfast Marshal. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. So wait, that should be it now, right? We're just short. That's fine. I don't think I need to buy shards. It's only 40. Maybe I can save those for the next event, right? Because I don't really want anything in this event anyway. Apart from the Crizia. We'll save these for now, as I don't really need them, as I've got all of those active. So let's just head into the actual calendar itself now. And there's a Trunkheart here. Oh, we can buy it. Buy that in advance. I just had a weird feeling that Trunkheart would be there. There we go. So Here we go. It's going to bring it up for you guys. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Emic Trunkheart. So we're going to be kicking off today with the Dragon Tournament, which also has a Dungeon Divers to coincide with it. Starting today on Thursday, the 3rd of August. And this is great, right? We're going to be double dipping our points, getting those done, and that's just the way that you want to be doing those. But also, starting tomorrow, on Friday the 4th, we have got a champion training tournament, which is basically where you rank up your champions and reach the milestone rewards, and then at the end, you'll be able to obtain 25 fragments from doing so. Now, the duration of this is one to watch out for. As you see, it's lasting quite a long time. So you can kind of pace yourself a little bit, maybe in between doing these dungeons. Let's just say you've done your dragon all on day 1, right? We've still got dungeon divers lasting for a little bit of a longer time here. So maybe, if you're a fan of doing brews on your champions, you might want to consider doing some of your champion training for this dungeon divers via campaign battles, and maybe just adding a little bit to it in case you fall a bit short, or simply doing other dungeons if you wish so. Like, I'm not a big fan of this in a way, because if we just head off here quickly and we go into the game, let's look at the requirements, right? So Dungeon Divers, the points is at 3,700. And then in terms of Dragon, we had in here, 2,250. So, you know, you might find yourself finishing the dragon before you can finish the dungeon divers. So you might have to find yourself farming stuff that you might not want to and just wasting a bunch of energy. And it is kind of the theme with this whole fusion. As you see here, there is 3 dungeon divers events, which I don't believe they do, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that there's usually 2 dungeon divers, which are just tedious as heck. I'm not a big fan of them personally. And it's the one that I always want to miss out on. But one big takeaway is you cannot miss any fragment in this entire event, or you're going to miss out unless you go for this special summon rush, which I'll talk about in a second. So obviously today as well, we have got the, well, I said today, I'm kind of late, right? It kind of started yesterday, right? Yeah, I just didn't make a guide yesterday. There we go. So basically today, the summon rush as well just kicked off. That's what we were just summoning for. We got our fragments and we'll be in a good place to start this off, whereas I still need to do these. Simple, as we just showed, get the milestone rewards, and I would kind of recommend don't summon anything past that point. Now, one thing that I was thinking of is we've got this weird summon rush sitting here, which is going to give you 50 points. Like, if I move myself out the way, you can see it. 50 extra points from summoning shards for the summon rush, but it's a gamble. Like, I was actually thinking about, do I just save my shards, not summoning the one that we just did, and just go for the summon rush on this one, and miss out on the champion chase as well? But then I was thinking, like, ancient shards are absolute trash for summon rushes, and they really need to ramp up the points that you get from those. I believe it's something like 20 points or 50, I can't remember. But it's definitely not worth it in a sense. And I'd rather designate those shards into a champion chase where I'm doing my 2x ancients anyway, right? Or simply just missing out on this and just going for 25 of the 50 on this one. But what I will say is, we don't know where those fragments are going to sit. Are they going to break them up into different increments, like 10s and 10s and 20s? Or are they going to do 25 and 25? Or simply a 50 all the way at the end of it? We just don't know, because we've never seen something like this throughout a fusion. But what I do want to say is that we've got the Hydra Clash sitting around Wednesday the 9th, which is the new tournament that we're going to be seeing, where we face off against other clans, being 5, to deal the most damage as possible with some multipliers and all of that stuff. Now, I am thinking that this champion chase, or the summon rush we've got at the moment, is very orientated around the Hydra, right? We've got Geomancers, max HP champions, Acrizia, you name it, they're all phenomenal for the Hydra boss, Inquisitor Shamil, right? So is this going to be some form of a guaranteed event, like we've seen with the, what's his name, the Missionarchy, where we had to summon 20 sacred shards to get that champion? And if so, it's going to be a very high threshold in order to get that champion. This is all speculation, guys, but just hear me out. Also, we just had the implementation, if we just take this off. I'm such a noob with this stuff. There we go. Of two new Void Epic champions, sorry. One from the Sylvan Watchers, being Ayla, who's got a phenomenal kit for the Hydra boss. We've got increased accuracy, we've got block debuffs, heals our targets by 30%, restores max HP, give extra turn mechanics. Like, is it going to be a guaranteed Void Epic champion potentially, right? We just don't know, but I would kind of think of it being some form of special event. But if it's just a 10x, like, you know, I don't know, it's a hit and miss. It's a big gamble, which is why I decided to summon for this one. But you guys let me know in the comment section below, what do you think that this is going to be? Do you think it's going to be a kind of guaranteed? Do you think they're going to hit us with another 10x? Or just what do you think this is going to be, right? What do you think? So basically, we've also got the, so we've got the Summon Rush, we've got the Champion Chase next week, which is going to be a 2x for Ancient Shards, which is self-explanatory. Get the milestone rewards, you'll be good to go, depending on the milestones that they are. Ice Golem and Dragon, you've got a... Unfortunately, it doesn't actually double dip with this Dungeon Divers, but you do catch it up until here, right? From the Tuesday, no wait, from the Monday, to actually have a bit of double dipping with it, right? Up until the end of Tuesday here. So maybe save your Ice Golem, don't do it on the first day, and just catch it once the Dungeon Divers 2 starts to get as much points as possible throughout this. So Dragon, Dungeon Divers 1s plus extra stuff with Champion Training as well. Ice Golem into this one is what I'm going to be doing now that I've kind of seen it in hindsight. And then there's kind of nothing going on here, right? To give you any kind of rewards for Dungeon Divers. And what I'm kind of worried about is, it's the duration of this Dungeon Divers 2. Like, it kind of spreads all over the Hydra Clash, right? Probably 1 day extra from these two, but there's not actually anything going on apart from the start of Fire Night here. Maybe you can catch a little bit on the Thursday the 10th with the Fire Night, and then also the Ice Golem. So it could be a cool way to double dip, but you just need to make sure that you're timing this all correctly and you don't fall short, right? Because we've only got 1 day of leeway from what I'm seeing here. Spiders, I believe that CVC will be kicking off right here on Tuesday the 15th of August, which is the infamous time to be doing your spider tournaments, which actually coincides with the Dungeon Divers 3 events. So for anybody that wants to participate in Spider, probably a good time to do so. But it's kind of going to be ending at the time that this kind of starts, right? Which is, it's a bit unfortunate. It's a bit unfortunate. Like, if this Dungeon Divers is just a little bit up, you know, by an extra day, we could probably do it. But it's going to be ending by the time that it starts. So we're going to have to just remove that, I guess. But you would be able to do the spiders pretty easily if you're doing that for CVC anyway. But in terms of Dungeon Divers, you're probably going to have to designate some points right here. And also with the Fire Night on the Saturday before that ends as well. So I'd say that these two probably might be the easiest. Let's just have a look at the points here again. So if we go back in here. Open up my game. The Dungeon Divers was... Because this will kind of be the guess for those two as well. So we've got 3,700. And the one that's longest, I would probably maybe guesstimate around 5k. Maybe for that one as well. For the one that was in the middle with the longer duration, right? So I would probably guesstimate around the 3,700 will probably be replicated in this one as well. And then, you know, carry the same theme in a sense. Because it's the same duration. From what I see anyway. 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah. My eyes are just playing tricks on me. I don't like the way that circle looks, but there we go. We've also got 3 artifact enhancement events, so any of the dungeons that you're doing, let's just say you're getting flat stats in the bin kind of stuff, or wherever that may be, you want to make sure that you're staying on top of, you know, getting some silver to be able to fund these, and they cost a lot. Like, you're going to feel like throughout this fusion that it's never ending. It's how I felt throughout the Newt fusion as well, and it's basically ranking up your artifacts and accessories, and reaching the milestones that you need in order to complete those, which are usually pretty hard. So, you know, if you're doing Dragon, if you're doing Ice Golem, you're getting flat stats or pieces you just don't need, or maybe even using a gear cleanse, a great time for that, to just gather as much silver as possible, and also ranking up the artifacts that you actually like, and not just for the sake of points, is also a big tip there. We've got another long champion training tournament event down here, so I'm a bit worried about this one. But what you could do is what I was thinking, is from all of these champions here, we've got 4 here, so that's 1 fire gun. We've got 2 here, in a sense. So that's 2 fire gun Isbels, right? So we're ticking these off the board by this point. And then we've got the champion chase. So I don't think you'll be able to get all of the fragments before that. Potentially here, which I might not probably do. But what I'm going to probably think of doing is maybe get 3 fire guns, right? And then you can actually use them for champion chase tournament points to get 3 points for the champion chase, right? And then by doing so, you can actually do the champion training by simply ranking up the fire guns throughout this period here. And then that would be a great opportunity to actually complete that in a sense. I think that's going to be my plan of action. Get as many of it I can as possible. Actually fragment summon them throughout the champion chase tournament. Rank them up through the champion training. And then boom, get myself some free points throughout that. I'm not just wasting it on champions I don't need. Alright then, so just before we actually finish this video, I thought it would be a really good idea to actually break down Emic Trunkheart after I've actually had the luxury of testing him on the test server, utilizing him in teams, trying him out in arena, trying him out in clan boss, which I will get a guide out on the channel very soon. I just like to understand the champion's core mechanics and the ways they can be utilized before actually throwing it out there as trash or good in a sense. So what I actually found was, he's a very good unkillable champion, in a sense like a Santa 2.0 from the Sacred Order faction, because if we head into the Sacred Orders, Sir Nicholas, with the Goodwill, has an unkillable and a 4-turn cooldown, and Emic Trunkheart comes in as the second champion that can actually fulfill this role, but he actually has a taunt buff to maybe determine where the stun target is going to go against any given affinities, right? And then he's also got this shield buff, which is very similar to Emic as well, but Emic's one has a chance of reducing skill cooldowns. Now, what I did find was, it's pretty hard in some teams to actually get this out, because not only do you need to decrease the cooldown of himself, if you want to utilize this in a 3-turn cooldown in a sense, or just on a 4-turn, but you're also decreasing the cooldowns of everybody else, so you need to factor that in to know where all of those skills are going, which I'm still working on. But if you just turn this off completely, there is a lot of teams that's coming to fruition where you're simply just using the unkillable and making phenomenal teams out of this, right? But of course, there is other teams out there like budget unkillables or paying keepers, and I'm pretty sure you'll see many teams over time. So that's the upside, going to unlock Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss for the vast majority of the player base. Now, also what I did find was, it's very hard, like, you still need to be affinity friendly, which is where someone like Maneater, who is an epic champion, brings that in for the team. So you need to implement some form of cleanser, right? Some form of block debuffs. You need to cover AoE 2 and the stun turn, so you're not getting stuns, right? Or you're not getting decreased speed to be affinity friendly. So that's where somebody like Maneater opens up the opportunity for players, right? Being an epic champion. Now, it's not to say that you could probably pair them together, right? Make some really cool teams. Where is he? Maneater? There he is. So with the Ancient Blood, Unkillable, and the block debuffs, which makes him so sought after, so simple to run. So that was kind of one downside. I kind of wish that he had some form of maybe cleanse mechanic or immune to stun in a sense to make this taunt buff actually workable in a way. Like in this passive, I wish it'd have something like this champion is immune to stun debuffs, and that would give him a very cool way to utilize this taunt to actually want to be the stun target. But if you're using block debuffs in an unkillable team, do you really need the taunt? Probably not, right? Because you're not dying anyway. So this could maybe be used for the Phantom Shogun's Grove, but many of the teams that I'm seeing out there are just utilizing the highest crit damage for an enfeebled tank to actually tank up that hit and work in a taunt in a sense. And I'm not sure how valuable he's going to be for that boss, because he's not really utilizing anything apart from the taunt, right? But you guys let me know. Do you use taunt in your Shogun's teams? I've tried it. Wasn't a big fan personally. But he does bring in that shield for protection as well. He attacks all enemies, places the shield, and decreases the cooldowns as well, which is pretty unique. Very similar to like Countess Lix in a sense, but she's on a 5-turn. He's on a 3-turn, making this a little easier to tune in a sense. And also a shield that can grow a champion shield, which had very weird ways of working with that rare champion, the Corpulent Cadaver, which since the release of him into the live server was actually nerfed. So it cannot exceed 10,000 HP, and we're not seeing the same damage numbers with those billions that you were seeing, which is why I actually didn't showcase it on the channel, because I was scared of that nerf. The Entanglement passive is very unique, I would say. Like, I was trying to use it in Classic Arena. Not very good for offense, I must be honest. Like, it reduces the cooldowns as well. Could be utilized in some Go Second Arena teams. But what I think it will be useful for is your defense comps to be a nuisance for your arena to face. But the main place being live arena. And you can imagine over the course of those longer battles, where reducing this random skills on the attacker, every single time that you're attacked on this champion, it's going to be phenomenal, right? So for me, live arena, going to be good. Progression in terms of Doom Tower and stuff, I could see the value. And then also unkillable for clan boss teams. So, is he a good champion? Yes. Did I think he was as good as he was going to be? Or have as much of an impact, should I say, as I thought he would? I don't think so. Like, I don't know. That's just my personal thing. That I'm still going to go for him because he's got a very unique kit, right? And if any kind of content comes out that you might require on this, like even the Eternal Dragon, I can imagine this having a lot of value, right? I don't know. You guys let me know your overall thoughts on it. But for me right now, unkillable champion, which I don't need on my account. I'm kind of getting in for this quirky A2 and also this passive. But yeah, that is going to be all for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Good luck on your fusions, and make sure you guys get involved in the giveaway that I mentioned prior in this video.